Vampire Death Knights, Templar, Dark Rangers, all now playable, 39 new hero classes and more. Guys, these hero classes I think are a bigger deal than we first think, and some of the lore implications and different ways we're going to be able to play our tunes, this is really cool. I'm interested to see what Doran has to say here. Let's check this video out.
We just got Farseers, Templars, Dark Rangers, Vampire Death Knights, and a
So many
total
things
of
players have been asking for.
39 proposed new hero classes that will be coming in the War Within. However, best of all of this is actually subject to change based on our feedback, and new classes will be added all the time. So finally, after all this time, we may actually be in for getting Necromancers, Blade Masters,
I was surprised we didn't get Blade
Wardens,
Masters.
Beast Masters, Witch Doctors, and a whole bunch of other lore classes we've been requesting since forever. Let's look at what are hero classes exactly in the new expansions, which ones are we getting, which ones kinda suck, and which ones would work really well in the game. If you guys are looking for a really immersive multiplayer RPG on your phone, Dungeon Hunter 6 is 100% legit. This is a game where you
with all the Blade Master stuff that came out for Transmog, I really thought we were going to get a Blade Master hero class or something like that when I saw these hero talents, but we didn't.
Super easy to get into the eye, top-notch graphics, a ton of units on the screen at once with incredibly smooth gameplay. The multiplayer aspect is also incredibly big. You not only engage in guild battles, but also epic boss raids with your friends. Best of all, Dungeon Hunter 6 features an incredible gacha mechanism where you can summon up to 3 bosses to turn them into members of your squad, and you can even shape-shift into them. With over 100 unique bosses and classes, the combinations are endless. The quality of life is 100% optimized to make your mobile gaming experience as valuable as possible.
Good old mobile games.
It's never been a better time to start. Scan my QR code on the screen or click the link in the description and you will get a $50 starter pack. 10 summoning scrolls, 1 SSR Lieutenant Demonic Wolf, 1 accessory pack. Check out Dungeon Hunter.
Ooh.
So, I've been making endless videos on new classes that Blizzard should add, from Sentinels to Blade Masters to Tinkers, and finally, Blizzard actually decided to do something about it with the new hero class feature. In my opinion, this might be one of the best features they have.
I think this feature is gonna be much bigger than anybody expected. And in terms of just like lore and playing into, you know, your class fantasy, these are a whole new step. I mean, Sandland, come on, man. Like, some of these things are really cool. And I don't think they're just aesthetic changes. They are going to create changes in how you play your class.
Ever done, and it kind of showed us that they do care about the lore, because remember, there are so many, and I mean so many classes in the lore, and playable classes are so generalized that it doesn't really make too much sense. Like, all these lore classes can't fit into these molds. Everyone is just kind of bunched into one, so Witch Doctors would essentially be priests, same as Light Priests, same as Void Priests that are really closer to Warlocks, and Priests of the Light are completely different. So this new hero class system spec could be everything that we ever wanted. Now, if you're not exactly certain what this means, to explain it super simply, this is a new War Within feature that is essentially an alternative to regular talents that we get with the expansion. So
yeah, so it's an extension of your regular talents. Now, you said you hope this isn't meta. I know, Tundra, I am kind of hoping that this is more of like a not aesthetic, because there are differences. Like, we witnessed the Warrior one that they showed us a brief preview of, and it essentially turned what is a frontal ability into an AoE ability. So it does change things, and that probably will create some metas in terms of, like, if you want to be a Blood DK, you're going to have to be a certain one of these hero specs are going to be better for tanking than others. That might be what happens. In a perfect world, I would like you to just be able to pick whatever fantasy you want to play and play it. But there probably will be metas. Hopefully, it's not balanced too hard, and you know, it makes you choose a certain type of hero class or whatever. But there are going to be rotational changes and stuff, so there probably will be metas.
Getting a whole bunch of new, boring, and generalized talent points, they will make a whole bunch of new additional specializations. So, for example, while you are a shaman, you can also be a farseer, which is what we used to play back in Warcraft 3. It isn't exactly a new class, but it is like further specializing it with new ability bonuses and spells, which will be thematic to these new hero classes. Now, of course, this isn't the best news. The best news is that this is now set Pet is an evergreen feature that Blizzard created, and this is something they plan to constantly add on, much like the customizations that we've been getting all the time.
Right.
So we could
All the
potentially
features
be
they're adding
seeing
are they're trying to
new
do that with.
versions every patch or every expansion, which is amazing. It opens a whole new door.
I know they said they're going to keep adding to it, but what I don't want to see is I don't want to see this hero tree eventually become as big as our regular talent trees. That's what I don't want to see. I hope that maybe they swap things out or iterate on them a little bit or change things up. But I don't want to see them continually add on to these to where now we've got like 3 sets of talent trees, because now we have our class one, we have our spec one, and now we're going to have a hero one. So there's 3 lines of talents now to do. I don't want Sam hates trees, confirmed. Yeah, I don't want the hero one to be as long as the others, because I think it just creates a lot of bloat, and there's a lot of useless ones that I'm sure they could drop or just swap out.
Possibilities. Now, the bad news is that we got 39 hero specs, and I honestly find half of them not only kind of lame, but also just vague and generic sound.
Shadowpan, that's kind of cool. Look, a lot of these are amazing. Templar obviously was like a fan favorite, and all 3 of the Death Knight ones are just W's. It doesn't matter what's covered by my face right now, because the Druid ones are okay, the Demon Hunter ones are okay, but a lot of these are really cool. Trickster, kind of neat. Oracle for a priest. I mean, there's lots of crazy stuff on here that's it's going to play really cool in the class fantasy. Dark Ranger, come on.
But once again, good news. Blizzard said that this list is the most subject to change out of all the new expansion features.
What is something I'd want to see? Honestly, Rider of the Apocalypse was one of them that I definitely wanted to feel like I am one of the 4 horsemen. That's always been a fantasy I've wanted to play out. And like I said, I play Death Knight only. So probably the other one would be like a Necromancer or something, creating more like ranged abilities in some way. But that would really change stuff out. Yeah, Necromancer is probably the other one I'd want to see for DKs. In terms of like the other classes, whatever they are, I mean, we didn't get really like a mage time travel one. I was thinking we might get something like that, but it looks like the Drakthir are going to get that. Something like with a mage that plays with time would kind of be cool too. There's so much they can do with this system.
Tell them what we actually
Chrono
want to see.
Mage,
and
yeah,
I kind of want to
exactly.
contribute to that. Even they admitted that some of these
See, the Evokers got Chrono Wardens, which is kind of what I was thinking of with a mage. But there's so much they could do with these.
All our feedback in order to introduce new classes, which means this could be our way to get Blade Masters or Beast Masters in the game as an actual reality, and not just fan fiction.
Blade Master's another one that I'd want to see for months.
So let's really quickly look at what they can actually give us, what others we could get, because I do feel like we have so many more lore classes that can be added instead of the new made-up ones. So with that, Knights, we have some of the most interesting ones.
Yeah.
Rider of the Apocalypse, Sandline, and the Deathbringer. The first and the last seem quite vague. I mean, it sounds like just a random Death Knight troll. However, the first Rider of the Apocalypse could potentially signal...
I'm hoping that with Rider of the Apocalypse, before he says anything, I'm hoping it gives you an ability kind of like the Paladins have, where you can mount up in mid-combat. That would be badass to me. If you could summon like an apocalyptic horse mid-combat and ride, that'd be a nice ability to have.
Or something related to the first generation of Death Knights. The second one,
yeah, man. Yeah, it'd be very cool.
Is super interesting.
This was crazy.
Know, these are the vampiric blood elves that you might remember, and this could be incredibly unique. These were the fallen followers of Keltas that the Lich King turned into his servants, and we could all see the life-stealing and blood-based ability.
See, here's what I imagine. Like, I like the Apocalypse, Rider of the Apocalypse one, but as a blood DK, I feel like I'm going to get pushed into Sandland, because I'm guessing they're going to have tons of, like, health, pool stealing, you know, blood draining, all kinds of stuff like that. That's the thing with these, is they are going to play into your rotation, so there might be a meta. And if it's Sandland for me, I'm not going to be upset. It's pretty badass to be a Sandland. But we'll have to see how it plays out. They did say that these are going to be ready swappable. So, like, you can swap them out before Mythic Plus starts, before, you go into Raid, all that stuff, just like your talents. So you can switch between things.
However, I feel like
I do want a combat horsey, yes.
And I mean
no, I'm not going to roll Pal.
perfect opportunity to actually get Necromancers. With Death Knights, Necromancers are just kind of halfway there. I mean, they already have half of the abilities, so literally, why not just add the Necromancers as a new hero spec? They don't even have to be spellcasters, they could just be specialized Death Knights, unless they actually plan to add them as a fully fledged class later down the line. Now, next down the line, we have the Demon Hunters, the so-called Aldrachi Reaver and the Fell Scott. super generic name.
Yeah, I
The
didn't know what
Aldrachi,
either of
though,
these
were
meant.
the race that originally resisted Sargeras, so we could see some lore
Oh.
there. But honestly, I'm not sure what I would really add to the Demon Hunters here, apart from maybe the Void Demon Hunters that I had previously covered, which I think would reignite
That
their
would be
purpose,
cool.
because the Legion is not really all that relevant at the moment, although with the new saga, the Sword Sargeras, it could be actually coming back in some way, shape, or form.
It could come back. Don't forget, the Burning Legion, in terms of the army, is still out there. There is an entire army of demons still out there that are currently leaderless. So I do think there's going to be some type of play on that where, you know, we're dealing with the sword again. We're going to see Sargeras again, maybe. Somebody's going to take up that mantle. There's always been that rumor out in the background that somebody could be Sire Denathrius, which to me would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see. Sire Denathrius coming back, I wouldn't hate that. I'd like it.
With Warriors, I feel like we kinda got the lamest ones, and I say this as someone that has been maining a Warrior for the past 15 years, but
Yeah, the
they
Warriors
do
are alright.
have the most potential out of all the classes. We got the Colossus, the Slayer, and the Mountain Thing. At the
You
moment,
know what would have been cool for Warriors, because, you know, playing off of Varian Rin and his whole like Logarsh. You remember when he was a gladiator? I think it would have been really cool to like have like I don't know, a Colosseum or something, or some type of warrior class that really played off of that, you know, endless survival gladiator, maybe more healing involved, where they're like more of like this single, obviously it sounds like a blood DK now, but where they're more involved in like just surviving multiple fights back to back to back to back to back, never ending fighting. I think that would have been a cool play. Maybe one of these are that. Maybe that's what Slayer is. We don't know yet.
Thing. At the moment,
But playing
I'm
on that
really
Varian
liking
Rin
Mountain
story
Thing,
of how he was a gladiator fighting on the Horde, that would have been really cool.
and I would say it is literally the Mountain King from Warcraft 3, as it kind of sounds like it, the Dwarf Warrior that we played back in the RTS, but the first two just kind of sound super generic, like some 12-year-old battle tag. I mean, the Slayer and the Colossus. With Warriors, there is so much that could be added. I mean, for example, Blade Masters, which is like the Warrior
I
class
feel like
back
monks
from
should get
Warcraft
Blade
3,
Master.
especially now with the recent transmog that we got. I mean, you can already look like a Blade Master, as well as they could possibly add some type of a Barbarian or a Gladiator, much like Varian, which I also think could work quite well. However, I feel like this class should really get updated. I'm not really liking the Colossus and the Slayer, although we don't really know what it is at the moment.
Yeah, we don't know
Then
what
we got
they
the
are.
Shamans, which is also super interesting. We got the Farseer, the Stormbringer, and the Totemic. The Stormbringer sounds possibly related to the new expansion. The Totemic sounds really weird, but we finally got an actual Farseer that we've had all the way back in Warcraft
What are
3.
Farseers?
The only
That's interesting.
change I could
I didn't
possibly
know.
see is a Dark Shaman, which is something we got all the way back in Mists of Pandaria.
Ooh.
The Shamans that aren't exactly playing nice with the elements, and I think that spec could actually be quite unique and super interesting. Then the mages honestly seem kind of generic. We got the Sun Fury,
Yeah.
the Frostfire, and the Spell Slinger. Most of this kind of sounds
whatever
super
that
generic.
is.
Not gonna lie.
I think the
would
Chrono
personally
Mage
like
or
to
something
see
would have been
something
cool.
akin to an Archmage, like similar to Khadgar or Antonidas, or possibly even
Imagine the Guardian, like that. That would have been like, you know, because really that's what, you know, Khadgar, all these guys are. They're the Guardians, but they're mages at the end of the day. Imagine like a title like that that gives you the ability to turn into a Raven or something. That would have been really cool. See, I feel like mages kind of got the short end of the stick. There's some really cool lore that they could have played with there.
even a Battle Mage or a Spellbreaker from Warcraft 3, although that is technically...
There's only one Guardian, though. Yeah, but you
so
could have,
far,
like, you
it
know,
is
maybe
really
learned
hard
a
to
spell
tell.
or two from him. You're not going to be a Guardian, but maybe you learned a few things in your time talking to Khadgar. He taught you a few spells. That could have been how the lore worked.
Like who the Sun Fury,
No
Frostfire,
more, no
Spell
less,
Slingers really are exact. Hunters, on the other hand, seem really interesting. We got the Sentinel, the Pack Leader, and the Dark
Ranger,
All
yep.
these, to me, honestly sound super exciting. The Sentinel is essentially the Night Elven class that we had all the way back in Warcraft 3, as well as the Dark Ranger that we had with the Undead, and I really like this distinction because a Dark Ranger, when you look at the lore, is so different when compared to a regular survival hunter. However, the Pack Leader honestly sounds like a Beastmaster, but I would want to see an actual Beastmaster. Like, that would be amazing. This is something we've requested for a really long time. Furthermore, this could be an excellent way to actually add the Rifleman from Warcraft 3, like a class that specializes in using rifles and gets
guns.
bonuses from those abilities. That would honestly
that'd
be
be cool.
amazing. Now, Paladins sound really cool as well. We got the Lightsmith, the
The
Herald of the
Templars.
Sun, and the
I feel like everyone's going to want to be a Templar. I mean, if you're a Paladin and you don't want to be a Templar, what are you?
Templar. Personally, I find the Templar most exciting. It seems like a really unique class. The first two sound kind of generic, especially the Lightsmith. No idea what this really means. The Herald of the Sun, in my opinion, sounds like a more nature-based one,
Yeah.
similar to the Torrent, so that
agree,
would work
Pin.
well. What I would like to see, though, is potentially some type of a Vindicator, which is a Draenei-specific class, and I could totally see that coming with the potential upcoming
Yeah, I'm gonna do
villain
them all
and the
today,
broken
King Julian.
storyline that will definitely be happening in the very near future. Next on, we have 4 brand new Druid hero classes, and these may be some of the coolest. We got the Keeper of the Grove, Elun's Chosen, Wildstalker, and the Druid of the Claw. Personally, I think it is
Interesting.
really good, and it might be best out of all of them, especially the Keeper of the Grove and the Druid of the Claw, as well as the Elun's
Keeper of the
Chosen,
Grove
which
sounds pretty
could
cool
be
to me.
something similar to Night Warrior, just not that
Oh.
dark, and it could actually work out really well.
I didn't
really
think about that. Elun's Chosen could be a play on Dark Warriors. Okay, cool.
add all that much to it. I mean,
Warriors
there are
of
already
Elune.
kind of plenty of choices here. Now, for the Evokers, we got the Crown of Warden, the Ruby Adept, and the Scale Commander. And seeing that these guys were literally just added to the Warcraft universe, they barely have any lore. Honestly, I think all of this is plenty. I wouldn't really add all that much to it, even this is kind of quite a bit. The Rogues, on the other hand, have some okay choices, but honestly, nothing all that special. We got the Deathstalker, the
How did you not
Trickster,
go
and the
pirate,
Great
man?
Vow.
How did you not go pirate here? I mean, what does Blizzard have against? I feel like Blizzard's anti-pirate at this point. They just don't want to give us any pirate lore. Yeah, no pirates. They keep saying it. I know. How did you not give us like a, some type of, I don't know, what would you have called it? If you don't want to call it pirate, what would you have called it? Explorer, rogue expeditionist? I don't know. But something, rogue sailor. There's so many cool things you could have done with pirate lore in a rogue. But, maybe Trickster is going to be a pirate. Someone who steals shit, and I have no idea.
These at the moment sound
Feels like a missed
quite
opportunity.
generic. Personally, I would like to see a Warden, although that could
Oh, a
technically
Warden.
be a warrior, but it could also
Yeah.
work as a rogue and also some type of a bandit. That would be really interesting as
Swashbuckler,
well.
yeah,
Imagine
that is
something similar
semen.
to Defiance Brotherhood bandit. Although you can kind of technically already do that.
Yeah, that
with
works
the
too.
spec. Priests, on the other hand, have interesting choices as opposed to some of these other classes, as we got the Void Weaver, the Oracle, and the Archon.
These
The Void
sound
Weaver
cool.
is obviously the Shadow Priest, and this
Yeah.
could work really well with this new upcoming Void storyline that is coming in Quotalas, and I'm guessing the Archon is going to be related to the Light storyline that is coming later down the line. Oracle, not really sure how that would work. I'm guessing something kind of in the middle. However, I definitely want to see how the Void Weaver works, as I'd love to see something more related to the Shadow. Most importantly, I'd
Maybe.
love to see the Witch Doctors. For years, we've considered them in the role-playing community to be related to priests, just using Witch Doctor-based abilities.
Yeah,
So
I feel
this could
like
honestly-
Oracle could be a discipline priest kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. Like, is there going to be things that fit only with certain specs? Like, obviously, the Shadow Weaver would go with a Shadow Priest, but can you be a holy priest who goes into the Shadow Weaver, tree? I don't know. And would that be optimal? Would that just fuck up your rotation? Who knows? But so far, a lot of these seem to fit in with certain specs better than others.
be an excellent specialization, although as the Witch Doctors
Yeah,
are
I
definitely
feel
quite
like
a bit
Oracle is
further,
gonna be a
they
disciplined
might have to be
priest.
a whole new class if they honestly
Think.
decide to go that route. Now, with the monks, we got pretty much as you would expect. We
I
got
feel like
the
Witch
Master
Doctor's
of
more shaman,
Harmony,
too.
the Shadowpan, the Conduit of the Celestials.
Yeah, how did they not do Blade Master? I mean, come on. Monks needed Blade Master here. You got the transmog and everything. Give monks where they're less into fist weapons, more into a blade. Like, it's very easy to have done that.
of Harmony, the Shadowpan, the Conduit of the Celestials. Very generic monk names, but honestly, I'm not sure what could
Shadowpan
really
might be
work
cool,
with them
but
other
I
than
don't know.
this. I mean, we already pretty much have everything that is related to the lore, so there really isn't all that much
Yeah, fat
room
flop.
here to really expand the monks. However,
They
with
could have
the
done like
Vault-
a shadow, I don't know, like a shadow themed monk. Maybe like a I don't know what you would have called it. But because like the whole they have the Shaw and all that stuff, I don't know, Shadow of the Shaw. They could have called it something like that. Who knows? But or like a monk that fights with anger, like a dark side monk, you know what I mean? Yeah, that could have been cool.
room
But
here to
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. These are just names right now. Maybe they did do that.
really expand the monks.
Shaw
However,
Infusion, yeah.
with the Warlocks, here we already have something interesting. So far, they've given us the Soul Harvester,
Yeah,
the
Shaw
Hell
Warrior.
Caller, and the Diabolist, which honestly sounds pretty decent, although I'll bit generic names. The
Like the
Warlocks
Shadow
are already
Pet?
pretty
I
well
don't know.
developed as a class, but these ones seem to just be kind of further specializations of them. We might see more developments with the Void, as that is where we will be going in the future, so something could be happening that in the near future, but nothing really too interesting I could think of. Overall though, a lot of these are definitely generic sounding, and personally I wouldn't even touch some classes as they seem completely okay. However, what I would definitely want to see are the Witch Doctors that could be added either to the Druids or the Priests, the Wardens
Witch
that could be
Doctor
added to the
would be cool.
Warriors and the Rogues. I'd love to see Blade Masters, Beast Masters, and most importantly the Necromancers, which is one of the most heavily requested classes, and I think they could actually work
think they
out
will
quite
add to
well
these.
for the Death Knights. However, I'm certain Blizzard knows how popular they are, so they could actually be saving them to introduce them as a new class, like a fully fledged class, and they could potentially fit quite well when we go back to Northrend in the last
that's
fight.
true. That's true.
Thank you for watching.
That's
Check out
true.
the
That
Warcraft
could be when we
cinematic
get
explained on what
Necromancers.
you missed by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain by also clicking on the screen as well. See you next time!
Another great one from Doran. This one was actually, you know, very informative and less speculative than a lot of his videos. This is really cool. These hero talents, I think this is just the beginning of these. There's going to be a lot to be seen from, probably a lot of balancing going on, a lot of testing that's going to happen with these. But all in all, I think it's a very cool system. I was, I was interested in it when they showed it, and the more they talked about it, the more I thought this could be a good addition to the game.